So these are the first tags that I'm going to show you how to create. I made some facing to the left and some facing to the right. They're pretty simple, but I think the sparkle makes a big impact. So I've prepped this tag already. It's just a plain manila tag, and I've adhered a doily, half a doily, and then some twine to the back, and put a tab of ribbon with a bow around the top. Now to create the star, I have a little square of adhesive backed paper. I ran this through my Xyron sticker maker, and that is going to make the whole back sticky. Alright, now I'll just take a paper towel and I'm going to sprinkle glitter over the entire sticky back of the side, and that is going to create my own glitter paper. I'm using this silver color here. If you're touching it, just dip it in. I'm going to smash it down to really help the glitter that needs to stick be stuck, and then just tap off all of the extra. Right. Now to make the star, I'm going to run this through my Big Shot, and I'll just show you the sandwich that I'm going to make here. I have my bottom plate, my star die. I'm going to lay this facing up. Just going to position that glitter paper on there. Then I'm going to stick another piece of plain cardstock over the top, and that'll help catch the extra glitter and keep it from sticking to my plate. I stick my top plate on, and then I'm going to run that through the Big Shot. Now I have my star completed, and I am just going to stick that to the tag with one large sticky foam dot. Just position that on however you will. Alright, and then I have just a die cut here with a matching stamp, and I'm going to be using the Celebrate Petal Point Pigment Ink palette, and this has lots of different shades of ink, and I think they work great for every holiday. There's Valentine's, Christmas, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and then you can mix up a lot of the colors, I think, too, to create just like a summer theme or an Easter theme. So a lot of potential in this set. If you only had one, this would be the one to get. So I'm just going to set that aside to dry, and then I will pull out a tag that I stamped earlier that has already fully dried, and I'm just going to be writing on there in my own handwriting the date, which is, this will be the 23rd. 23rd. Okay, and then onto a piece of watercolor cardstock, I sprayed the Stephanie Barnard Sprays in Artichoke. This is a really nice shade of gray, and I just used the watercolor paper simply because I like the texture that it has, a little bit of extra texture, and then I punched a snowflake out of there. I'm going to stick this onto my tag, and then just clip it on there with a little clothespin. You can use adhesive as well if you want to guarantee that it stays on there. And then I'm just going to stick a couple more foam dots onto the back. Place that on the lower portion of the star. And there you have it. That tag is complete. So here's the next tag we'll be making. I made a total of 3 of these, and I just started with the tag base again, and then I adhered a piece of book paper to the tag and punched a hole so you can still see where it was. You got the ribbon up top. I'm going to begin by distressing the book paper with the Venetian Lace Decades Antiquing ink that we designed for Graphic 45. And I'm using my Memory Essentials tool here, and I'm just going to go up all around the edges. I really do think this is the perfect shade of of distressing ink, because it really does give the paper an aged look. It's just, I think it's the perfect color. So I'm going to rub this all around. Look like that paper has been sitting around for ages. Okay, and then to begin with, we're just going to add here this Holly Jolly sentiment. This is from the Design Adhesives. Jolly Greetings, and those are designed by Hampton Arts, and I'm just going to adhere these to the top portion of the tag. The trick with these, you just want to remove them very slowly to make sure that adhesive comes off completely and doesn't snag. And just rub that on thoroughly with your finger. Really easy. These work great with embossing powder, glitter, designer foil, pigment ink. They're really a great product, and they add a lot of fun. So I'm going to move this aside, and then we're going to be using the Sense embossing powder. This is the peppermint, and it also smells like peppermint. Just stick that on there. I kind of like to press it down with my finger to make sure it's on there thoroughly. And I'll just dump that back in the tag. Dump the tag right back into the the jar. And then we're going to go emboss this. Alright, and here we have it. Heat set with the gun. You're going to just want to make sure to use a light touch with the heat gun so you don't melt that adhesive. And then I'm going to go back in with the designer foils. This is the cherry shade. I'm just going to press that down. Anything that we missed with the embossing powder, the designer foil will pick up the adhesive, and you'll get just a little tiny bit of foily shimmer left behind. No problem. Alright, for the next step, I just have a piece of cardstock banner here. I used the Simple Dots rollograph, the jumbo rollograph wheel, and again I'm using the Celebrate pigment ink pad. I used the silver shade here, and just embossed, just stamped some dots right on there with the rollograph. So I'll just put a little tab of adhesive there and stick that to the lower portion of the tag. And then again with the artichoke spray, Stephanie Barnard sprays, we spritzed onto the watercolor paper for the texture, and then on this time I added a layer of vanilla shimmer swoosh spritz over the top to give it a little bit of sparkle. And I'm just going to run some more adhesive on the back side of these die cut leaves. I'm going to stick those to the page. Alright, and then just kind of pop those up for a little bit of dimension. I'm going to adhere 3 buttons, holly berries, not to be mistaken with Halle Berry. Alright, all 3 of these. My tape gun, just right next to one another. And then, this is the Smooch Glitz. This is a brand new shade. This is Prism. It's heavy on the silver. There's some red and green, as well as a couple other shades in there, but it's a really pretty color. Very festive. And I'm just going to add that to the buttons to give a little bit of shimmer. I want each of these tags to have a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of silver glow. So this is how we're going to add it to this one with the Prism Smooch Glitz. Let that dry thoroughly. And then I just have a plain chipboard number 9. And I want to add some more white to this tag. So I'm going to use the white from the Celebrate Pigment Petal Pad. I'm going to ink that up really well. And stick that from my paper. And then I will run some more adhesive over the back. And I want that right centered on my buttons. And there we go. So here's the next tag we're going to be working on. We're going to start out by spritzing the tag. I'm just going to lay the tag under this template from the Crafter's Workshop, a little bit wonky. And I'm going to take the strawberry shade of the Stephanie Barnard sprays, spritz that on there. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and sort of blot those colors. Make sure that you keep everything in place. If it moves, you can just... And that's a nice shade of red. And then I'm going to go back over the top with the Cherry Ice Smooch Spritz because I want to have a little bit of shimmer on this. And this is a little bit different shade of red. They blend together very, very nicely. Blot that again with the paper towel. And then we are all ready to go. Alright, so you can let that dry. You can set it with the heat gun, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go in here and get my little bit of tag. Get that on there. And then I've got a semicircle cut here, and I'm going to stamp that up with Stormy. This is a new shade of the Mixed Media Inks by Donna Salazar, and it's a darker shade of gray. It's a great addition to the color line. I'm going to stamp this on here, crooked way, kind of position that over the top. And then I'm just going to take a jumbo foam dot to adhere that to the side. And then I've got a couple numbers here that are already die cut, and this is the 21st that we're working on. So I'm just going to peel these off. I'm going to create as much dimension as possible on these tags. 2, we're going to put him up high, and then the 1 we'll position just a little bit lower, sort of layering them over one another. And then I have a glitter die cut star, which I used with some of my leftovers, which when we made the glitter paper for the stars earlier. This is just leftovers, and I'm just going to position that on the number 1 here. And that's all for the last tag.